Hey guys, welcome back to the 30-Day Poetry Challenge. We are on day 18, and today we're talking about magic, big magic. This is a wonderful nonfiction book by Elizabeth Gilbert, author of the sensational breakout knowledge Eat, Pray, Love, which was embodied by Julia Roberts in the movie Eat, Pray, Love, which I very much enjoy as well. This was very, very helpful to me as a creative, because it's basically creative living beyond fear. So this is about learning about the magic of what we do as artists and how to be brave enough to continue doing that in a world that doesn't always value our work, which is, yeah, it's true. And really, when we know that the world doesn't always value our work, it is easy to get into the fear, into the trap of, well, you know, what if my work isn't valuable? What if what I'm doing isn't good enough? And that shuts down the creative process right there. And that, in a nutshell, is basically what Elizabeth Gilbert's book is about. So let's, get into this topic. The book begins with a question and an answer. The question is, what is creativity? The answer, and I'm assuming this is her answer, is the relationship between a human being and the mysteries of inspiration. Because creativity is all about inspiration, and how you go from artist to inspiration to work of art is magic. But again, if someone doesn't value that process or doesn't value the end product, sometimes it's hard to justify that work, because it is a lot of work and it takes a lot of yourself. I would like to read you a poem, another poem from The Moon Is Always Female by Marge Piercy, which demonstrates this a little bit. The poem is for the young who want to. I would say for people of any age who want to. As creatives come in all shapes and sizes and ages. Talent is what they say you have after the novel is published and favorably reviewed. Beforehand, what you have is a tedious delusion, a hobby, like knitting. Work is what you have done after the play is produced and the audience claps. Before that, friends keep asking you when you are planning to go out and get a job. Genius is what they know you had after the third volume of Remarkable Poems. Earlier, they accuse you of withdrawing, ask why you don't have a baby, call you a bum. The reason people want MFAs, take workshops with fancy names, when all you can really learn is a few techniques, typing instructions, and somebody else's mannerism, is that every artist lacks a license to hang on their wall, like your optician, your vet, proving you may be a clumsy sadist whose fillings fall into the stew, but you're a certified dentist. The real writer is one who really writes. Talent is an invention, like phlogiston. Yes, I had to look that up. It is a theoretical, combustible chemical that 18th century chemists thought resided in everything. So talent is an invention like phlogiston, after the fact of the fire. Work is its own cure. You have to like it better than being loved. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And it seems like it's a very true place that she wrote this from, but it also, you can feel the sarcasm dripping off every syllable. Because yeah, it's frustrating when you are an artist and looking for a way to build your confidence, to find meaning in the work that you're doing. And it begs the question, why do we write? Well, why do we write? Why does a singer sing? Why does a dancer dance? Why does an artist paint? Well, simply that, if an artist doesn't sell a painting, there is no viewer. If a singer or a dancer doesn't find a stage, there is no audience. Similarly, if a writer is not read by anyone else, there is no reader, and honestly, that's okay. Respectfully, who the fuck cares? Because that's not why we do this anyways. You don't create for somebody else. And, it's personal. Creation is a very personal thing because you have to dive into yourself to find your writerly voice, to find your authenticity. And in doing so, that is a risk because you make yourself vulnerable. You ask yourself the questions. It's like putting your heart on a platter, boom, 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 and wanting to be published or trying to push that through. It's like a gauntlet to that heart, just because you want validation for that product. And that's not wrong. I definitely want to put things out in the world, but that doesn't stop me from writing something that is never going to make it out into the world. In fact, it is necessary that I write a ton of stuff that is never going to see the light of day other than, the lights in my own house. But it is true that artists across the board, deal with people not wanting to validate their work, to have value in them as an artist, to have value in their work, in the work that they have to do to create. They don't take it seriously, or they can be negative about it, or there's a negative perception about the value of the work of an artist, and the people that value and encourage that, and the people that don't. So the way I look at this is that in the mind of a writer, I feel like it kind of creates this dichotomy of the way that you look at your writing as having innate value because it's yours and because it's personal and because it's authentic, and you looking at your writing and the value that it might have based on what somebody's willing to pay for it. And those two things exist because, who the fuck cares is great, but it doesn't put dinner on the table. You gotta eat. So I wanted to there's so much in this book that is valuable. One of the things that really kind of stuck in there for me is that she really felt that her relationship with creativity was this lifelong personal journey for her, and she never wanted to put the pressure on her creativity to be something that was the breadwinner, because she felt that that's exactly what kills it. The creative instinct to write authentically is cut off when you're thinking, okay, what would somebody else like? So I'm going to try and write what somebody else will like because I want somebody else to like it. It's complicated. So in Elizabeth Gilbert's book, something really stuck with me. She considers her creative journey to be this kind of living magic journey that she was on her whole life, and it had nothing to do with anybody else. And what really struck me was, she said, I wanted to give everything I have to this creative journey, to live a creative life. And I never want to put the pressure on my creativity to be a source of income, because she feels that just kills it. And I think it's a it's a very valid point, that, when you're trying to write for somebody else, you're not anywhere near authenticity. You're in commercialization. It's good to separate what you're writing from what you might publish, what you might sell. And sometimes they might be the same thing, but you have to go through the process of finding authenticity. And just the act of going through the process of creativity, of writing, makes you a writer. It doesn't matter if you're published. You are writing for you because it's what you need to do. And the reason that I love poems like For the Young Who Want to, it just reminds you that creativity has innate value, and no one can ever change that. And knowing that, in your heart, and realizing that other people might not see it that way, you have to decide how much that bothers you, and just write. And that's always when I feel I do my best writing, as I forget the world and I go inward as opposed to outward. And I just create. And I like this idea that, I thought of recently, the way that you write should be that your audience is the only page. The page is the only other thing in the room, and it is a dance. It's a conversation between you and what you're creating, and that's wonderful. That should be the most enjoyable. That is the most enjoyable part about creation. So just to finish, we're going to go back to Mary Oliver. She's always got good stuff, but I would like to read you something that she has to say on the subject. Of course, another poem. And it's, I want to write something so simply. I want to write something so simply about love or pain that even as you are reading, you feel it. And as you read, you keep feeling it. And though it be my story, it will be common. Though it be singular, it will be known to you, so that by the end you will think, no, you will realize that it was all the while yourself arranging the words, that it was all the time words that you yourself, out of your own heart, had been saying. This, I love how it interestingly plays with the idea of, I want to write for somebody else, and I want to write something that is so true, that is so accessible to somebody else, that them and the page in whatever room they're sitting in could feel like it's their story. And that is how a reader hooks in to a piece of writing that they love, because it is authentic, because it's about that magic, that magical journey that a writer goes on when they create. I want to read to you just one more thing. And this is from Big Magic itself. There is no job security in creativity, and there never will be. Going into massive debt in order to become a creator, then, can make stress and a burden out of something that should only ever have been joy and release. And after having invested so much in their education, artists who don't immediately find professional success, which is most artists, can feel like failures. Their sense of having failed can interfere with their creative self-confidence and maybe even stop them from creating at all. And that's why I say, don't stop yourself. Don't be the block. And she's she's always very blatant in the way that she gives advice, because she talks straight. She says, so take your insecurities and your fears and hold them upside down by their ankles and shake yourself free of all of your cumbersome ideas about what you require and how much you need to pay in order to become creatively legitimate. Because I'm telling you that you are already creatively legitimate by the nature of your mere existence here among us. The nature of your mere existence among us is magic. We are magic. And that's what she's saying, is everyone has these jewels within them if they go on a journey to find them. Everyone is on their own journey. And creatives have to validate themselves to know that their work is worth something. So, after all of that, your job is to look at your authenticity, to look and see who you are writing for. So, after all that, this is the assignment. Now, after hearing authenticity talked about in so many ways, I would like you to give yourself a chance to consider the authenticity in your writing. Where are you in the writing? Where are your thoughts and feelings and emotions and experiences? And how have you put them into your writing? Because that's where you have to go in order to really write, to use this form of self-expression to, I think, it's most advantageous. So what I would like you to do is start, if I wrote something true, this is what I would write. And go from there. If I want to write something true, this is what I would write. And just go from there. It can be prose, it can be poetry, but whatever it is, let you and the page be the only thing in the room. And allow yourself to write for nobody. And you can do whatever it is you want to do with this. You can put it on the fridge, you can put it in a drawer. It doesn't matter. Just give yourself the space and the chance to enjoy your creativity just because it's yours and not because anyone will ever read it. So that's the challenge I issue to you. Take care, and we'll be back with day 19 tomorrow. Take care. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful journey into poetry. And I'd like to wish you good luck with your own writing and poetry projects. Please subscribe so you don't miss a day. And thank you so much.